Hello, beer digesters. I'm going to try to keep this review under 10 minutes today because I've been going longer than I've wanted to lately. It's just a little difficult with some beers. This one might be equally as difficult. It's Hobloun Chouffe from Brasserie Chouffe in Belgium. It is their hoppy beer they make using some American hops, and they call it, let's say, IPA triple beer, which is kind of confusing because we wouldn't call it necessarily a triple nor an actual IPA. Something like a Belgian IPA kind of makes sense, but it's nothing like the American Belgian IPAs that are usually real sweet and yeasty and bitter at the same time. Hobloun Chouffe is, or Brasserie Chouffe is known for their beer La Chouffe, just the gnome. This is the hop gnome. Hobloun means hops. And their regular La Chouffe beer is kind of like a Belgian strong golden, except they add coriander in there, so it's kind of triple-y, like a spice triple, and that's 8% alcohol. This one is 9% alcohol, and it's kind of reminds me a little bit of what Duvel did with their Duvel, which is usually 8.5% alcohol, the standard for Belgian strong pale ales, and then they up that 1 percentage point for their Duvel triple hop, which they call that triple hop because it uses 3 hops, and this also actually uses 3 hops, but they don't really say where the triple came from. They say, oh yeah, something about a hop gnome, a gnome wandering through a hop field, and finding a recipe, crafting a recipe with the depth and body of his favorite style triple. So I guess they are going for this triple leg style blonde strong ale, and then hopped more than they usually would in Belgium. And they use the hops Tomahawk, Amarillo, and Zatz. Zatz, the classic Czech hop used in all real Czech pilsners and many, many European beers. Amarillo, one of the classic American IPA hops, and then Tomahawk is actually part of the CTZ family, Columbus, Tomahawk, and Zeus. They're all genetically the same hop, just different trademark producers of it. And this beer, it doesn't really fit in any of these categories very well. I've had it before, not quite a while. I had a taste a few days ago of it. This is the first fresh batch I've seen around here in a while. It says best before June 2017. I'm guessing it's not. It wasn't brewed in June 2015 because it seems a lot fresher than that. So I'm not sure exactly what their best before is. I mean, maybe it was brewed in June 2016 or 2015. Then it would be like 8 months old, but it doesn't have the skunkiness of a very hoppy beer at 8 months. We gotta open this, I guess, if I want to keep the review short enough. They have super cute little caps with the gnome on there. And the La Chouffe style is not quite as intense and dry and bitter, I think, as as Duvel, but similar. A good amount of carbonation. I mean, very, very clear, but there's a perfect amount of sediment sticking to the bottom. That's how a lot of these Belgian strong pale ales are. And beautiful, soapy, finely bubbled head. And even though there's a lot of head, there's plenty of aroma coming out. And it's grassy, it's slightly bubblegum banana, but not overwhelming. A little bit of clove. Plenty of citrus, more of a cotton candy. I definitely like a sort of cotton candy, bubble yum aroma. And some orange, like really juicy, sweet orange, not bitter orange, like more like mandarin orange. And it doesn't It doesn't smell boozy at all. It doesn't smell too medicinal. And the head is sticking around pretty well. And if you can see through there, it's very clear, very, very tiny, fine bubbles. Just a masterfully well-made and bottle-conditioned beer, clearly. No old hop smells, no skunk. Just a little bit of grass and sort of lemon that's coming from the Zatz hops, I think. Herbal kind of blueberry almost too, that mixes with the citrus and the dankness of the Amarillo really nicely. It's almost mouth-watering, though not tart at all or anything like that. And the head is just bubbling into a beautiful, soapy, lacy thing. Yeah, there's a little bit of sweetness in there. Not too much, not sticky, sweet, or heavy, like some people think all Belgian beers are. I think they're all sweet for some reason. Some aren't, but a lot of them just have like sweet flavors and are just fuller bodied. But I think it makes sense that they call this in the triple style, just a especially hoppy triple, without being too high alcohol or too bitter. A little bit of heat in the back of the throat, but not quite as intense as the Duvel triple hop. That's a half a percentage higher, and I don't believe they dry hop this beer. I looked it up and I couldn't find any info on that. Maybe in the finish there's a slight kind of earthy hay, not quite hay, but more like just a little bit old hop character. It's not quite unpleasant and like chewing on twigs and dirt and wood or anything like that. But I wish you could see the head a little bit nicer. It's starting to form, a rocky, foamy, bubbly head. That is always a beautiful thing. But the aroma just kind of knocks it out of the park. With so many light berries and light sweet citrus and lots of flowers. Every flower you can think of is in there. Dandelion, just soft wildflowers. It's nothing too intense and incensey. Not too like lavendery or like intense jasmine tea. A little bit of jasmine maybe, but it's not too earthy and intense to the point where it becomes like cinnamony or spicy that much. Not really big on the cloves. And just an ethereal, fluffy mouthfeel from that high carbonation and just a little bit of body and sweetness. Makes it just kind of float on your tongue. And it's not until it goes all the way down your throat that you realize, like, ooh, this is 9% alcohol. And I chilled it quite a bit. And I kind of recommend doing that. A lot of Belgian beers, you wouldn't want to do that as much. But with something that's just this high alcohol, and this aromatic and carbonated, it kind of helps to make it more refreshing. And Duvel also recommends chilling your beer more than most Belgian beers. And it totally makes sense for this style, in my opinion. But the aroma is just magical. It's full and overwhelming, but soft and floral, with not too much resinous, bitter citrus fruits. They're in there, but it doesn't overwhelm. And it's definitely not a big bubble-gummy mess like some Belgian beers. Or should I say some Belgian-style American beers. This really nails it. And the bitterness is never too much, nor is the boozy yeastiness. The yeast just kind of helps to bring together all the hops, I think. I'm going to give this one maybe like an 8.5. It's really nice, really drinkable. Not the best beer in the world, very, very pleasant. I wish I could try this like ridiculously fresh, like within a week of being bottled, maybe if I go to Belgium or something. And then I might change my rating a little bit, but it is extremely pleasant and special, and there's not really anything else I've had quite like it except for the dual triple hop, but that's a little different, a little more intense. And this one is just a real pleasant, refined, subtle sipper. So I think 8.5, 8.75 or something like that. Definitely worth it if you find some bottles that seem fresh. Do it.